Your gut lining is a single cell thick. One cell. It sits between everything you eat and your bloodstream, a barrier so critical that when it starts to fail, your entire body fails with it. How does your body descend from a sealed intestinal wall all the way into systemic inflammation that spreads everywhere? This is what happens to your body, from the first cellular whisper to the point where targeted repair becomes urgent. You feel fine. Nothing is wrong yet. But beneath the surface, the barrier is already changing. Your butyrate-producing bacteria are beginning to decline. These bacteria make butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid that fuels the cells lining your gut. Without enough butyrate, those cells can't maintain the mucus layer protecting you. The mucus thins, slowly. Goblet cells reduce their output of mucin, the protein that forms that protective barrier. You might notice small changes. Bloating after meals that never bothered you before. Your stomach feels heavier after lunch. You blame the food. You move on. Your Firmicutes to Bacteroidetes ratio is shifting. This ratio measures microbiome diversity. Beneficial anaerobes decline. Pathogenic species expand. This stage can last months. Your body hasn't broken yet. It's just begun to fade. If you're new here, welcome to Yellowhead Science, where we break down real health and lifestyle science in a way that actually makes sense. Join us. Hit subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a video. The signals are there. You're just not reading them yet. Your body starts to compensate. The tight junctions, the molecular locks holding your intestinal cells together, are still working, but they're beginning to loosen. A protein called zonulin is starting to increase. Zonulin is the natural key that opens tight junctions. When zonulin levels rise, the locks weaken. Bloating becomes regular. It's not just after big meals now. You're bloated after normal meals. Certain foods seem to trigger it. Dairy feels heavier. Wheat causes puffiness. Beans create gas that lasts for hours. You eliminate those foods, one by one. You think you're fixing the problem. You're not fixing it. You're just living around the damage while it accelerates. Your barrier is compensating, not healing. Zonulin continues rising. The tight junction proteins, claudins and occludin, weaken their grip. But from the outside, you don't see a problem. You just see a growing list of foods you can't eat. Then the barrier fails. The tight junctions open. It's not a dramatic rupture. It's months of accumulated zonulin and weakened junction proteins finally giving way. Lipopolysaccharides, endotoxins from gram-negative bacteria, live naturally in your gut. When your barrier is sealed, they stay inside. When the junctions open, they cross into your bloodstream. Your immune system recognizes these endotoxins as a threat. Immune cells carry toll-like receptors that bind to LPS and trigger an alarm. Cytokines flood your bloodstream, IL-6 and TNF-alpha, and your body deploys them to fight invaders. Except there's no invader. There's just bacterial debris that shouldn't be there, and your immune system stuck in permanent high alert. This is when symptoms become undeniable. Joint aches appear, sharp, random pain in your knees or shoulders. Brain fog rolls in, mental heaviness where thinking feels slow. Fatigue settles into your bones. You're tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix. You wake exhausted. The exhaustion persists through the day, and it all feels disconnected from your gut. The inflammation is no longer localized. It's systemic. Your immune system fights constantly, everywhere, against a threat that can never be defeated. The real problem is the open door, not the endotoxins. You start buying probiotics. This is where the story splits between the biology and the business. You're desperate. Your gut is inflamed. Your joints hurt. Your brain is foggy. You've read that probiotics help. You've heard about good bacteria. You go to the store and the options are endless. Bottles claim billions of organisms. Labels promise species names you can barely pronounce. You pick one that feels credible and start taking it. Here's what research actually says about what you just bought. When scientists tested 15 commercial probiotics, Only 4 contained what their labels claimed. A larger study tested 25 products for both accurate labeling and matching bacterial counts. Only 2 met both criteria. One product had 0 viable organisms despite purchase before expiration. Your probiotic isn't a medication. It's a dietary supplement. The FDA doesn't require pre-approval testing. Companies can claim anything.
Probiotic efficacy is strain-specific. Not all Lactobacillus species are equal. Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG, a specific strain, has research behind it. Generic Lactobacillus on a label is meaningless. It's like buying a car labeled vehicle. The specific strain matters. The dosage matters. The viability matters. Most products don't prove any of that. You might be buying fermented foods thinking they solve the problem. Kombucha, kimchi, sauerkraut. Research is compelling. Fermented foods restore bacterial diversity. But here's an industrial secret. Most are pasteurized, heat-treated. Live organisms are killed. You're buying the idea of fermentation without the benefit. If the label doesn't say raw or unpasteurized or contains live cultures, you're eating dead bacteria. You take your probiotic for 3 months. You feel slightly better, or the same, or worse. You stop. You try a different brand. The cycle repeats. Meanwhile, your actual barrier, tight junctions, mucus layer, intestinal cells, hasn't healed. You're treating dysbiosis while the fundamental damage persists. The inflammation goes systemic. It's no longer localized to your gut. Sleep becomes fragmented. You wake at 3 a.m. and can't return. Your mind loops. Your mood shifts. Irritability, anxiety, sometimes depression. Your gut produces most of your serotonin. Dysbiosis disrupts the bacterial enzymes that synthesize it. The gut-brain axis connects your intestinal and central nervous systems, and it carries inflammation both ways. Skin issues emerge, acne from your 20s, or eczema, or unexplained rashes. Your intestinal inflammation expresses through your skin. Your immune system is hyperactivated everywhere. Butyrate production collapses. Your butyrate-producing bacteria, Roseburia and Faecalibacterium prausnitzii, are nearly gone. Butyrate is a histone deacetylase inhibitor, and it changes how your DNA is read inside cells. Without butyrate, your intestinal cells lose the signal to maintain the barrier. The repair chemical your lining desperately needs is absent. Your Firmicutes to Bacteroidetes ratio has shifted dramatically. Beneficial anaerobes decline. Pathogenic species expand. Your microbiome is no longer diverse. It's a monoculture of trouble. And by this stage, the damage from the first shift is already partly irreversible. Some of that remodeling is permanent. Dead intestinal cells have left scars. Epithelial tissue has been reshaped by months of inflammation. Some remodeling is permanent, but targeted repair is still possible. Not reversal of everything, not a magic cure, but genuine, measurable repair of the barrier and restoration of the microbiome. Research is recent and specific, and it requires understanding what actually works. Start with Akkermansia muciniphila. This bacterium lives in the mucus layer and produces metabolites that strengthen tight junctions. A 2024 randomized trial tested Akkermansia supplementation. 58 adults, 12 weeks. Results were striking, but only for one group. Participants with low baseline Akkermansia saw improvements. Participants with normal baseline levels saw no benefit. This is crucial. Akkermansia isn't for everyone. It's for people whose microbiome has actually lost it. If your baseline is adequate, adding more does nothing. You need to test first. Most people don't have access to an affordable microbiota test showing their baseline Akkermansia. So you're guessing. Prebiotics are different from probiotics. They're food for your good bacteria. Resistant starch, inulin, and beta-glucans ferment in your colon and produce butyrate. The clinical dose is 3 to 5 grams per day, not 25 grams. The misconception, more fiber is always better, is wrong. Most people jump from 0 to 25 grams in a week. Result? Severe bloating, gas, cramping. They quit. The correct approach is graduated. Start at 2 to 3 grams per week.
Increase by 2 to 3 grams every 1 to 2 weeks. Reach your target over 2 to 3 months. The bacteria need time to adapt. Your colon needs time to adjust to the metabolites. Postbiotics are emerging as superior to probiotics in specific applications. They're non-viable bacterial products, metabolites, and cell fragments. They're more stable than live organisms. They don't require viability or survival through stomach acid. Recent evidence suggests postbiotics deliver comparable benefits to live probiotics in inflammatory bowel disease, but the research is newer. Most trials are 8 to 12 weeks. Long-term effects remain unknown. Postbiotics are promising, but not proven across all conditions yet.
If you're buying any of this, prebiotics, postbiotics, or probiotics, here's what the label must tell you. For probiotics, specific strain name, not just species. CFU count at manufacture and expiration. Third-party seal from NSF or USP. Missing any of those? Red flag. For prebiotics, specific fiber source and dose per serving. For postbiotics, specific bacterial source and metabolite composition. If a label is vague, the product is vague. The full protocol is this. Identify what you've actually lost through testing or symptom pattern. Add a prebiotic fiber gradually, reaching 3 to 5 grams daily over weeks. Consider Akkermansia only if your baseline is low and you can verify it. Monitor your symptoms. Give it 12 weeks minimum. Track sleep, energy, digestion, skin, and mood. The domains that shift when your microbiome restores. Some people see change in 4 weeks. Most see measurable change by 12 weeks. Will your barrier heal completely? Probably not to the state it was before the damage. Will your microbiome diversity fully restore? Partially, if you maintain the protocol and keep the barrier sealed. Will the inflammation resolve? In most cases, yes, within weeks of when the barrier starts resealing. The LPS stops crossing. The immune system downregulates. The systemic symptoms fade. The early symptoms, bloating, food sensitivities, fatigue, were your body's early warning all along. You didn't recognize them as a barrier problem. You treated them as individual ailments. If you had repaired the barrier during the quiet compensation stage, the rest wouldn't have happened. But you didn't have that knowledge. You have it now. If this changed how you think about gut repair, leave a comment and tell me. What's your first step to restore your microbiome? I love reading every single one. And if you want more science-backed health lifestyle strategies designed for someone just like you, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you in the next video.